also just want to say to those viewers and those listening that we are planning a webinar with Laurie. We have not pinned down a date, but please look out for it on our social media platforms. And also, if you would love to be part of our WhatsApp group, we do try and keep people up to date with at least one post a day or every second day, so you won't be bombarded with messages. We have very good controls in place. So please let us know if you would like to be part of our WhatsApp group. We believe that you do absolutely amazing work. And could you please share with us your website address, as well as any other services that you provide to the public, to individuals? How can people make contact with you, and what services do you provide?
Well, we are on the internet, so Cyberati does have a website. It's www.cybereti.com. Cybereti spelled C-Y-B-A-R-E-T-I. As far as the company goes, we provide services in most fields. Obviously, the psychological profiling would be one, the criminological profiling is the second, the offender profiling, but also victim profiling. We do assist with court preparation for court. We offer advocates and attorneys trial strategy consultation. I do pre-sentence reports. And then our company does we do all the cyber work. We have OSINT capabilities if it's necessary. We work with evolving technologies and law enforcement globally. And we do a lot of training. So I am available to consult if anybody needs help. Please reach out, we do consult.
Welcome to the Joseph Movement Table Talk. And with me is my co-host, Simone. Hello, Simone. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Tershia. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon with this amazing table talk we're going to have. I can't wait to hear what's going to happen.
Yes. Now, I think we're going to be blown away with some of the information that our guest speaker is going to be giving us. So just to introduce Simone quickly to everyone who do not know her possibly. So Simone is one of the directors of the Joseph Movement, and she is also the chair lady of Mighty Women Global. And Simone is actually a mother of teenagers. So I think that we're going to have a very interesting talk with Laurie James today. Welcome, Laurie. You are our special guest today. Thank you so much once again for your time. You have spoken to us on our previous podcast, and now we have this privilege of doing a video recording with you. So thank you, Laurie, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice to meet you, Simone, and hi, Tershia.
Yes, well, Laurie.
So Laurie is from Cyberati. She is a specialist in offender profiling. Now, that to me is an extremely interesting topic. And I believe that when it comes specifically to, human trafficking, that is something that is vital within our community, to have people such as Laurie. Laurie focuses on developing effective crime intelligence tools, especially when it comes to, security online, internet, social media, and that of course also includes online predators and cyberbullying, for instance. She also assists, which is quite amazing to me, various organizations, but not just organizations, also governments and law enforcement, and even the military. So I know that is quite a mouthful, but I really wanted to mention that because this is a woman that has a vast amount of experience and knowledge, and we can really draw a lot of valuable information from her. I just want to start off quickly, Laurie. I want to ask you, when it comes to human trafficking, we know that according to South African legislation, transportation is not necessary for human trafficking to take place. But just the term human trafficking is almost deceiving because it implies, trafficking or a movement. But what I want to get through to our viewers and listeners is that with human trafficking, movement or transportation is not necessary for it to take place. And in your experience, with what the work that you do in cyberspace online, can you maybe just elaborate and explain to everyone what actually happens online when it comes to exploitation and human trafficking?
Okay, so just to go back to your definition, it is not necessary to transport the person. However, a lot of people see human trafficking from the movie kind of Taken point of view.
Yeah.
So they expect abduction and movement. Now, unfortunately, the majority of trafficking does not occur in this manner. That's not to say that it doesn't ever occur, it certainly does, but the majority does not occur in this manner. What we see rather, especially online, is the trafficking of young children for economic reasons online by their own families. And this has increased hugely during especially COVID, where you've had a lot of impact because people have been locked up in their homes. They have had their income severely curtailed, their movement curtailed, access to law enforcement curtailed, availability of law enforcement curtailed. And it's become easier for, especially in the cyber context, to traffic either their partners or their children on the online pornographic sites.
Goodness. If you say their partners and their children, so how does it happen? Me as a mom now, how does that?
So as a mom, excuse me, so you perhaps lost your job. You have a 10-year-old son or a 20-year-old daughter. And that's also another thing I just want to point out. Trafficking is not gender requisite. We all think that it's only the girls. It's not. There is a massive market for young boys, or even young male participants. So you then discover this avenue, or you on a porn site, you find that there is a massive appetite for pornography. So you may ask your daughter to masturbate on camera and post that video to the porn sites. It can get worse, that you can have the online rapes. You can even have online snuff movies. So the potential is there. You can start simply with pornographic images. Bearing in mind that this would be a huge overlap between the manufacture and distribution of child pornography, which is an independent crime, but it would also fall into the realm of human trafficking.
Definitely. These sites you're talking about, these pornography sites, is it very easily accessible?
Yes.
Good question.
They are very easily accessible. Just to give you an idea, we were doing an experiment at one stage where we had to pretend we were 10 years old or 8 or whatever, and had heard the word sex for the first time. Typed the word sex into Google and followed the links. we ended up being able to access, and part of the task was not to use a credit card.
Goodness.
So this was not that you had to pay, which is a situation where children find themselves, they don't have credit cards, but they're very good at stealing parents' credit card details as well. So what we saw there, excuse me, was that we got into sites that were things like, things like double penetration, triple penetration, sex with teenagers, sadistic stuff. It's there. The porn industry is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, if they are sent a link or anything, it's even easier. And this was just, all we did was click links and follow along.
Right.
Yeah, the depravity is quite interesting. I learned a lot of new things, I must admit.
Okay, from a mom's point of view, you know, your sites like you get TikTok, you get Instagram, those sites. How easily, I've seen little girls on TikTok that flaunts, you get this little dance movements everyone does. You get like this song which everyone dances to. I've seen girls and little boys dress up and do these dances. How easily is it accessible for someone to come onto TikTok? If you have a TikTok account, if it's my daughter's 10, for someone from a pornography site or has a porn site to come onto Instagram or TikTok and those social media sites, and basically, you know, what's the better word, get hold of those individuals or those teenagers or younger girls and boys?
Well, it's very simple, because that as soon as you post them, they're in the public domain, accessible to anyone. Now, what you need to bear in mind, and what's really important to understand, is that pedophilic networks do not exist as they used to many years ago. It's not an old man in his Datsun Bucky sitting outside the school waiting for a child. These networks are very sophisticated. They disseminate information between each other to the point that they hunt for each other. So if they find a child in a certain area, they will notify all online predators in that area of the child's presence. If there's more, and they will start to groom the child. You know, just to give you an idea, there's an organization in America called BARC. So what they did is they created a number of social media accounts, Instagram, Snapchat, or couple, you know, just the general ones. And they uploaded an account with a couple of pictures. As the youngest one they did was an 11-year-old, but they use deepfake to do this anyway. So, I mean, it's very, very simple to do that. Within 1 minute and 26 seconds, this 11-year-old Instagram account had already received a photograph of a penis.
Now, I interrupt quickly before you go on. Just explain to everyone, what is deepfake for those of us who are naive.
Photoshop, I think.
So deepfake is technology. It's more video technology now, or it's moving into the realm of video technology, where your face is superimposed on your body and you can change your features. You can make yourself younger, older, use a completely different face. So the child may think they're communicating with another 10-year-old. However, they are not. They are communicating with a much older person, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an older person. We've had cases where 10-year-olds are eliciting naked photos of other 10-year-olds, and 8-year-olds are raping 6-year-olds in the toilets at schools. So this isn't always an adult on child attack. It
Right.
often is a child on child attack.
Yes, yes. And that must also be because they have been groomed in a way, either personally with friends or family, or maybe with watching porn themselves.
Well, as the kids say when you interview them, and nobody doesn't know about porn anymore.
Yeah.
To give you a statistic, just an interesting one, in 2015, there were surveys done on 8 to 11-year-old children's awareness of pornography on the internet. It came out at a roughly 8%. It's now 66%.
Goodness.
And only 5 years have gone by.
Wow.
So,
Can believe that.
You know, and as it gets older, the statistics get worse. By the time you get to 15, 16, it's 100%.
definitely, definitely.
Wow.
You carried on, you still said about, and then obviously with that profile, you saw so a photo of a penis just appeared. You were still speaking about that. Is there something more you wanted to add to that story? Just wanted to be curious.
You know, and as the profile was online for a longer period, so the interaction on that profile got more and more severe.
Yeah.
But to give you an idea of what you said about accessing a TikTok account, well, TikTok is there. Once you upload it, it's in the public domain. Everybody can access it. WhatsApp, you would have to put it onto a WhatsApp group, but that doesn't stop it being disseminated.
Yes.
And, you know, I always try, when people say to me, well, what must I post online and what mustn't I post online? Because this is a question that obviously comes up fairly honest. And I've tried to make a criteria for them. And I say to people, if you are prepared to take what you are posting and put it on a billboard, not next to the N1, because that's only Joburg and Pretoria, but on a global billboard for the entire world to see and spread, then that is what you post online.
Yes.
If you're prepared to put it on a billboard, you can put it online. If you're not prepared to put it on a billboard and you are hoping for some form of privacy, then don't put it online.
Most definitely. And I'm also thinking about the fact, you know, when it comes to social media, it's too dangerous to make friends on social media. One should actually use your social media to converse and communicate and share photos, maybe, if you are willing to go that far, with people that you do know, with family and friends, you know, that are not just living down the street, for instance. I don't know, what would be your your take on that, especially when it comes to our kids?
Well, as far as kids are concerned, I have a little bit of a bugbear with this particular subject because it even happens in my own family, despite me trying to caution them, and then I'm just overreacting. You know what it's like. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, no parent or no responsible parent, let's rather say, not no parent, but no responsible parent would post any image of their child online ever.
Okay.
For the simple reason that there is so much information about you already online. Yeah. So, for example, if you post a picture on your Facebook account, let's just go Facebook because older people all have Facebook.
Yes.
If you post a picture on your Facebook account and you've taken that photograph on your cell phone and you don't have your metadata settings switched off, you've posted a photo containing metadata of your location, where you are, what you're doing. If it's at the school, you've identified the school property. So there's information in the photograph, but there's also additional information. People normally have their workplace, possibly a cell phone number, possibly an email address, possibly a history of work environments. Somebody may post a photograph of their car and not remove the number plate information. So anybody can search the National Vehicle Database for information. But a lot of people are sharing their addresses, their birthdays, which is already half your ID.
Your
ID number. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So there's already so much information out there. And then if the child has in the past done something good at school, they've probably shared the school. So there's so much information sitting on the internet about you, who you're married to, what your other children name, who your family is, because people mark the family on Facebook. So now, as a perpetrator, I've got an image of your child. I have information on who your entire family is. I know where you live, not necessarily the address, but at least the city and suburb usually. I can use open source intelligence to gain from that your cell phone number and email address, if in fact a lot of people don't actually have it visible. And I know where your child goes to school. Now, I'm a woman, but I'm also a criminal. So I decide that this child is my perfect victim. I pop into the school. I say, your mommy, Simone, is at work at the moment. And your daddy is a little bit sick. He was in a car accident. So mommy's rushed through to help him and just asked me to please fetch you. I've already taken your brother, sister, Deerwald, to mommy. So don't worry, just come with me and I'll take you to join your family. I've got so much information. I've got the husband's name, the mom's name, the mom's workplace, you know, that child, if it's a young child, is going to trust me. And I'm a woman, because people all think that all these perpetrators are men for some reason. That child is going to take my hand, get into my car and toddle off with me.
Most definitely.
Never to be seen again.
Now, my question is, you know, with the metadata that you're talking about, how does one, is it pretty easy to switch it off? And this might be a stupid question, but if I move from home and I'm disconnecting from my Wi-Fi here, and I'm moving on to somewhere else, I'm connecting to someone else's Wi-Fi, does that metadata still continue running? Or how does it work? Does it also through the networks? I'm assuming. Sorry, the network providers.
Well, the first thing that you can do, and that you should always make sure that you do, and it's very simple. Everybody can do it, unless you require your location to be on. Transmitting data, for example, unless you are using Google Maps for a specific reason to travel, turn your location off. That is the first setting that you need to turn off, because not only does Google collect information about where you go, but should that information fall into the wrong hands and become accessible to predators, they will have a very good idea of all areas that you frequent, because this information is stored, and it would take a hack, but it's not Google's been hacked before. It's quite likely that it will be hacked again. So my advice is that if the location data is off, then already you've got one safety mechanism in place.
Tell me, while we're on that also, like my sons, they have WhatsApp. So they constantly obviously speaking on WhatsApp, and how safe is, because for me, according to me, WhatsApp is safe. It can't really be hacked, or can't, if you don't either block the account, if someone comes up, you block the account, you don't know the person, you don't answer the call. But how safe is WhatsApp, Telegram, those? Because I was told Telegram is actually safer than WhatsApp. Don't be on WhatsApp, go on Telegram, because WhatsApp is not encrypted or something, and so obviously I am now not at all, Laurie, I'm not you. I'm a mom. When it comes to technology, I just know WhatsApp, those kind of things. But how safe is WhatsApp actually, and Telegram, those sites? How safe is that really? Compared to Instagram, TikTok, those kind of things.
Okay, so WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal are your three most popular options now with the direct messaging apps. Skype also used to be very popular. Right, so let's compare them. Firstly, they're all end-to-end encrypted, so you don't have to worry about end-to-end encryption. The big hoo-ha happened when Facebook acquired WhatsApp, and people were very concerned that people would share that WhatsApp would share data with Facebook, which I found hilarious, because chances are all your information was already on Facebook in your Facebook account.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So,
Laurie's so funny.
Yeah,
it was pretty hysterical. Yes. So there was mass hysteria globally, and people fled WhatsApp. Now, they'd fled WhatsApp for Telegram. Telegram is one of the most popular pedophilic hangouts in the world. So, as is Telegram's the worst. Signal, not too bad, but a lot of the intelligence community use Signal because it's very, very safe as well. So let's just stick to comparing WhatsApp to Telegram, because they sort of operate in the same realm. So with WhatsApp, you are fairly well protected, because on a Section 205, if you are threatened, attacked, exploited, you can apply with a Section 205 to your service provider, and you can download the conversations that have been stored inside of WhatsApp. So they are accessible if you need evidence in a case, in a court of law, with a subpoena.
Yeah.
Okay. You can also export your chats on WhatsApp to your computer. Yes. So if somebody is harassing you, you can export the entire chat to your Gmail account or wherever you want to send it to before you delete them. Because once you close or block them, the account, it turns off automatically. So you won't be able to access the information once you've blocked someone. So remember that. When it comes to Telegram, this does not exist. So if you are attacked on Telegram, yes, maybe the encryption is stronger and you will have a little bit more privacy, but this is something you need to weigh up.
Yeah.
If you're attacked, you are on your own.
Yes.
Law enforcement cannot assist in any way, because we cannot get the data.
Yes.
So you're 100% on your own. As far as other social media platforms go, all of them, not all, the majority of the popular ones, let's just say not all. TikTok has a law enforcement arm in Dublin. They will assist from there with flagging and dealing with evidence, so that they are contactable and you can access data. Facebook, the same. Twitter, the same. So all of the other social media platforms that you post to with a subpoena, you can track and get the conversations if you need be. As a normal investigator. The ones that you can't get, the hackers can get. But most people in the world don't have access to a team of hackers.
Yeah.
The only other alternative is to become very familiar with using the OSINT free tools available on the internet, which is not easy if you don't have strong technical abilities.
Yeah.
But for example, a company like mine, we have OSINT capabilities. So we can get any information on any person using any device.
Goodness.
I just want to say something quickly, which is very interesting. Someone has mentioned that they actually took a photo. They took a photo and actually got the exact GPS coordinates from the photo that she took on her phone. And it literally took about 10 seconds to get the exact location. And so it was not a hack. So it's clear that, really anyone can do it.
If your location is on your device, yes, you will.
Exactly.
That's why I say just a very simple safety tool is to just make sure your location is always off. And you'll see
mine
that
is always on. Mine is actually always on.
And you'll see that when you want to go onto a website often, you'll get this request of, can it access your location data?
Yes,
Now,
yes.
and people just blindly click yes. But, you need to ask yourself, if I click yes, where is this going to end up? And why on earth do they want my location? I mean, there must be a reason why they're asking for this data. What are they going to do with it?
Exactly. Very good point. Very good.
People don't
Just blindly
think about that.
Because some people just blindly go into it because you want to open an app now and you're just thinking, fine, let me just answer yes to all the questions in case they might block me or in case I might lose something, or it's just like you say, you blindly go into something, not realizing, just check the questions, check the answers, and don't just blindly go and answer any question and just think it's going to be the right answer. So very, very helpful information.
People really need to, when they even sign up for apps, look at the terms and conditions. When you get that list of services that your app needs to access, and it says photos, location, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what are they going to do with this data?
Yes.
Are they tracking me for commercial purposes? Or is it for targeted advertising? Is it for exploitation? Is there a pedophile on the other end of this app that actually created it and will use this against me? Who am I actually saying yes to? And what am I actually saying yes to?
Yeah. I'm thinking about our children. I know, Laurie, you have said the best advice you can give to parents is you don't give kids a device. And yes, I'm one of those parents as well, because my boy is only 8. Yeah. But now we know that we are definitely the minority, Simone.
Yes, for sure.
So for those who have already given their children devices, I mean, it's so easy to take a photo of yourself and post it. What can one do? No, besides taking it away and besides, putting the location off. You have mentioned to us before in our previous talk, in our podcast, in fact, you mentioned that with pictures that are posted of children, you said 90% no, in fact, 100% of those photos reach, you know,
The dark web.
Exploitation, or the what did you say? It actually is used, in other words.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I can't remember your exact words, but you said that every single photo that is posted is used by a stranger. Just explain that to us, because I can't quite remember the detail, but it actually is quite scary.
Okay, so as I said to you, it's no longer the man in the ducks and outside the school.
Yeah.
Paedophiles today have massive networks. They also use multiple levels of the internet. So for anybody that's not aware, we have 3 major areas in the internet that are classified as such. The first one is the surface web. Those are your .biz, .coms, .co, .zas, anything that you can access using a normal search engine.
Okay.
The second level is what we call the deep web. On the deep web, this is where companies store databases, the underlying databases from websites that you can't access, and other information that they need to store, right? So it's a lot of corporate data that's stored there, but it's not accessible from Google. Then we have the deep, the what we call the dark web.
That's
now,
what I wanted to, yeah.
The dark web is a marketplace, some good, some bad. It's also an area where your anonymity is preserved.
Okay, before you carry on, I am now, obviously now, how do I, a person like me, okay, can I get onto the dark web? How do you get on there? How do you know what I'm trying to ask you?
So in order to access the dark web, which uses the not .com, it uses .onion, okay?
Okay.
There is a specific browser called the Tor browser, which you can download. It's open source, it's free, and you can install on your machine. And there is the occasional idiot that does this.
In other words, don't do it, please.
Don't do it, yes. In layman terms.
Sorry, in fact, it's more common than you think. So, so you can upload download the Tor browser, and you can install it on your Windows computer if you so choose. Now, Tor does not only access the dark web, it can also access the surface web. And no problem. So you can actually use it the same way that you use Google if you want to be a very frustrated person, because it works a little bit differently. So when you search with Google, what happens is you type in some information on your computer and you run a search. I want to search this. And your machine sends it to your service provider, sends it to Google, who checks their web crawler and sends you back some results via your service provider. Simple. Tor doesn't do that. Tor redirects it from your computer, goes out. Then it will bounce it to 6 or 7 different countries. And then it will bounce it to Google. And then it will send it Google's reply back to you through 6 or 7 different countries.
Sure.
And it does this in order to hide your anonymity. If you are thinking about going on the dark web, you should be running a VPN as well. But Windows is a very insecure operating system.
Okay.
Understand that when you access the dark web, you're accessing in a lot of cases the criminal realm, the criminal marketplace. And I'm not talking about a criminal that's going to pick your pocket. I'm talking about murder for hire, weapons trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking, organ trafficking, baby trafficking, snuff films. Snuff films are when people are murdered online or in a specific way dictated to by the person who's purchased the murder. Passports for all countries. So look, it has some good things too. So for example, in a country where you have human rights violations, journalists use the dark web to get information out because the surface web is blocked to them. Okay, so it's not just totally a bad thing.
Yeah.
And the intelligence community uses it to share information. So, but what I'm saying is now these are the people that you are dealing with. This is the criminals, the high-end organized crime, criminal mastermind, murder is nothing to them types. They also hire, they are not short of funds, they hire hackers. So be aware that the second you enter that space in the dark web, you are tracked.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know exactly where you are because their hackers are better than you are, even if you think you're a hacker. They will track you. They will look at where you go, what you do. They will look at what you try to access. Are you just browsing? And so it goes. So my advice to Joe Soap is to stay as far away from the dark web as you can possibly stay, unless, of course, you desire becoming a victim, because the chances of you becoming a victim, if you don't know what you're doing, are 100%.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
And to give you some information about photographs, we at Cyberati have tracked uploading of photographs to them ending up in the dark web. And the average time from when you post a photograph of your child on Facebook till it hits the pedophilic sites on the dark web is 15 to 16 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
Are those just normal photos? Normal photos that
any photograph of any child will be moved immediately. Yeah. If the child is in any state of undress, it will be further disseminated. Yeah.
Of course.
But just every single photograph will be shared. Because somebody will find some sort of sexual gratification in the photo.
Yes, yes, yes.
And if that's how you want your children leered at, then continue.
So in other words, what we are saying is that this is not a case of, dramatizing. What you're saying, Laurie is an experienced person who works with these kind of things every single day. And I can imagine, Laurie, it's interesting how our closest people, like our friends and our family, are often the first people to say to us, oh, you're over exaggerating, or Laurie, please, it's not so bad. But the difference is that you are a qualified and experienced person, and it gives you so much credibility. So what you are telling us now, and for those parents especially, and even young adults who are watching this or listening, please do take it to heart. I think it might be just such a difficult mind shift, because I think we're all, besides Laurie, so into the social media thing that we really need a mind shift. We need to become responsible online users. That's very important.
Definitely. I mean, I am just so shocked now because I have my phone. So my daughter doesn't have a phone, but she uses Snapchat on my phone. So I can obviously see what she's doing on my phone. But even though, like you say, she puts some of the stuff up from Snapchat onto Snapchat to chat. she's got 3 or 4 cousins. But even that for me is, yeah, I have to go and look again at really just even, yeah, it's so difficult as a parent to, yeah.
You know,
nothing else to say, actually.
it's not hopeless.
Yeah.
There are a number of monitoring applications that you can use on your child's phone and should be using on your child's phone. I mean, there are many, many very, very good ones. To name a few.
Out of your yard, do you know some of?
Yeah, sure. There's Kids Guard Pro. There's Norton Family Premier. There's Custido for Families Premium. There's Net Nanny. There's ESET Parental Control App for Android. There's Phone Sheriff. There's My Mobile Watchdog. There's Lock to Learn. There's Moby Stealth, and there's Bark. So there's 10 to choose from, and they're all different price ranges. But really, they are all good monitoring software, which gives you full access to your children's phones.
Okay, here's a question. So my 2 boys, my 2 sons, they'll, in any case, they're going to watch this interview with you for sure. If so, they're in hostels, so they are on the other side of the country and they have their phones. How would those apps help me as a mom to what can I see what they do on the phone and what can't I see, if that's so?
And depending on how you set it up, you can see everything. You can even install them without the child having knowledge that it's there.
Okay, so can you see what WhatsApps they're sending, on what apps they're on, all those?
Everything.
Good.
You can even see when they try and delete their internet history, which is very good at these days.
Yeah, that's true. Yay. Okay, well now I'm gonna maybe burst Simone's bubble.
Oh gosh.
So I just want to ask. So I've been made aware of an app called Calculator.
Yes,
which is not your calculator, which is apparently an app with a vault that uses a password where people can save pictures and videos. And apparently there are a number of young people that use this app. So can you tell us about that app? And
I'm actually not aware. I actually don't know about it. Sorry.
Okay. Do you know of any? Okay. Do you know of any other kinds of apps or say apps that can be used that will actually maybe trip parents up a bit, where kids are busy, chatting, they're busy distributing or sharing explicit images or whatever, and they're hiding it from their parents? Is there any such other apps that parents specifically must look out for?
You know what? Let me do some research and speak to our RCN people and see what they would like to flag there. What I can do is I will let you have a list when you upload the video in the comments, and we can add it to the talk.
Yes.
Because I'd like to, if I do give names, I'd like to give the latest trends, which
Definitely.
I think is important. And because the kids are usually 10 steps ahead of the parents. And I fortunately don't have to monitor on a daily basis now because my son is a hacker and he's 26. So,
oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
But I will get back to you with the list.
Yes, that'll be wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Laurie. So so people can look out for it. It will most probably be in our comments section when we post out this video, and it might even pop up towards the end of this video. Thank you, Laurie. So Simone, I see that our time's almost up. It's been fun. It's been just so interesting. I mean, I can honestly, our time's a bit restricted, but I can actually sit a whole day. I think we must take Laurie for lunch one day.
Definitely. And bring my sons with, bring all their friends with, and we just sit around Laurie, and she can have a chat with these wonderful teenagers of ours. No, I'm joking.
Yes.
But it's really, really, really good, Laurie. It was, and I would love to actually speak to you again regarding, I think you've got so much knowledge, and it's good to be able to speak to someone that a person is, these things are happening. And we as parents, we need to really just keep an eye on everything our kids do, because at the end of the day, they are responsibility. So, and we are there to protect them. And yeah, so thank you so much for your insight, Laurie. It was really amazing.
You know, Simone, what you've just said there is actually the most important part of this topic. And that's that parents need to understand that they are not their children's friend, and they are there to protect them.
Definitely. Awesome.
And you should be monitoring your child's phone. And parents so often say to me, but my child and privacy.
I know.
Oh my word, I want to
I agree with you.
Have a apoplexy of note. A child doesn't have a right to privacy on a mobile device, because it's dangerous for them to have privacy on a mobile device. You know, for the parents out there that want to give their children cell phones, why not give them smartphones? Give them cell phones that can phone and send an SMS.
Yes.
Especially young children. But if you're going to give them a smartphone, because we're always competing with the Joneses, and even the children want to have this phone better than my friends, that phone, you know, the iPhone 8's not good enough. I must have the iPhone 13. And this has unfortunately become a bit of a ego thing for the parents. But if you are going to do it, then you need to take responsibility. You need to take control of the privacy, and you need to be a parent.
Agree.
Definitely. And what I've seen as well is that some of the top high tech leaders out there don't even give their children devices, especially smartphones. So that already says a lot. I'm also aware of some very top businessmen who are almost completely off the grid, and they do use the type of phones that you are referring to. You know, like almost the flip open, old school with the green and black screens. So that already must be a red flag to us. Yeah.
Well, no, not on the topic. Sorry, I think it's important. We spoke about devices, and we spoke about, you know, all the apps and stuff, and which is not good for kids, and obviously pertaining human trafficking. But you know, it's so important to sit down with parents and really have like a kind of heart to heart and say, listen, you guys, you know, if we are going to become better parents and protect our kids and look after them, then I think, like you said, Laurie, in 5 years, 66% went from 5% to 66%, you know, of kids just, you know, having all this information. And I think as we need to really just have like a heart to heart with parents and say, listen, guys, let's just sharpen up our parental skills, you know, and why we are parents is so important. So yeah,
you know, and one of the most important tips I can give you, if your child does have a smartphone, do not allow them to take it to bed.
Yes,
because what kids get up to in bed is absolutely frightening. So they must hand it in before going to bed. And that's critical. It's very, very important. Teach your kids to use the blocking functions, and keep your connectivity, your devices, your computers, these types of things in an open area.
Okay.
Because it's easy to see what's being done, and they won't slam their device shut when you do go and look, because kids are quite brilliant at hiding stuff. And then another thing would be to make sure you try to at least stay abreast of the security settings of the apps you do allow your children to use. And try to maximize those security settings. They're all different. But yeah, try to make sure that they are at the highest levels. And then the other thing is talk to your children, never close the door. And if you do suspect there are problems, don't threaten them to take their device. Right. The reason being, children today are basically handed a device when they're very young by their parents. And that device is almost an extension of their personality. Yeah. So when you threaten to take it, you're threatening to amputate a part of that child's personality and person. That is the stress level that you will induce. It's when you take a child's device, it's the same as how we would have felt about having an arm amputated. Because it's integrated into their personality. So if you suspect your child is being bullied or anything like that, you must assist, but never threaten to take the device because they'll never trust you.
Yes.
So just a couple of things to bear in mind when you are dealing with any suspected cyber or internet bullying or anything like that.
Yes, that is very valuable information. I was also not aware of that. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you so much. And then also just lastly, Laurie, we believe that you do absolutely amazing work. And could you please share with us your website address, as well as any other services that you provide to the public, to individuals? How can people make contact with you, and what services do you provide?
Well, we are on the internet. So Cyberati does have a website. It's www.cyberati.com. Cybereti spelled C-Y-B-A-R-E-T-I. As far as the company goes, we provide services in most fields. Obviously, the psychological profiling would be one, the criminological profiling is the second, the offender profiling, but also victim profiling. We do assist with court preparation for court. We offer advocates and attorneys trial strategy consultation. I do pre-sentence reports. And then our company does we do all the cyber work. We have OSINT capabilities if it's necessary. We work with evolving technologies and law enforcement globally. And we do a lot of training. So I am available to consult. If anybody needs help, please reach out. We do consult. We also do strange things. For example, we do water security. So we have devices that, because for us, part of security is to have water security. So we can actually provide water purification on a mass scale using a container. One of our containers actually can turn sewage water into drinking water for 1,500 people.
Goodness.
Yeah. So, and it's mobile. So for Durban's disaster management at the moment, this would have been very useful. Wow. Of course, they're not aware. And our costs are very little, because to establish a water purification plant, you would normally be looking at least 20 million euro, whereas our containers only cost about 250,000 euro. Wow. So it's a way of getting water to people who need it desperately in disasters. So we do various things. We also have drone technologies. We do military grade drones for surveillance purposes. So for example, our drones can track anything. Literally, our drones are used by the US military to actually do their surveillance. So yeah, we're quite strong. We do kidnap and ransom using the drones and our ground teams to extract victims from KNR situations. So we have a full capability here.
Yes, for sure.
A little bit
Wow.
more than just being a criminologist.
Yes, yes. Very interesting. Wow. So we are definitely talking to the right person, and I'm hoping that we will be able to also market you with some of our partners who can possibly also use your services. Okay, so I think it's time for us to say goodbye, and please remember, Simone, thank you so much for being my co-host. It's always a pleasure having you with me. And once again, it's just been such an honor speaking to you, Laurie. Thank you so much for your time.
I'm doing hashtag.
And remember our hashtag, yes. Hashtag do something.
Do something.
Yes, and please do something.
Hashtag do something. And we're going to continue doing something. This was amazing. I have to listen to this podcast over and over and over again, or the Zoom. It was awesome. I would love to remember. I just want to write down those websites because I definitely want to make work of just hacking my son's phones.
Safeguarding. It's just being a parent.
That's, the thing is.
I've just seen so many, especially with being with my teenage boys. I mean, they are awesome boys, Laurie. They're actually very awesome boys, They actually love sports more than anything else. So they're not into even PlayStations and all those kind of things. But I've seen so many other friends of theirs committing suicide because of bullying online and things happening, getting into drugs, getting into things because of, and for me as a parent, I get to live being a parent once. I get to live this life once, and as far as I can, and I mean all of you as well, we want to make the best of it,
And to that end, another of the very dangerous platforms where a lot of bullying takes place is on the online gaming sites.
Oh, yes. Wow.
Yeah, and then also what we saw in the COVID stage was a lot of the online education sites became quite fertile grounds for bullying as well.
I mean, I had it was actually 2020 with two brothers, they're 2 years apart, 12 and 10, where they played this online gaming. Everyone knows this game. I can't remember the game, Fortnite, whatever. That they literally threw their computers at one another, like their laptops. They threw it at each other, or taking like their bikes and threw it at each other. Big stuff. And like the one child said, the older one said that they kill so many people on this game. So for them, it's like death is nothing. So that you're gonna throw this thing at him, but he's gonna be liable because it's a game. It's like in their minds, and then I realized, oh goodness, we're sitting with something else here again. So,
but it's actually worse than that. So when you're dealing with young children today, we find that they don't understand the concept of death.
Yes.
Also because of Disney, for many years now we've had Rogue, the Roadrunner being flattened and getting up and flattened and getting up and flattened and getting up, and various others. So these kids don't understand the concept of death. We've had brother shoot brother with daddy's gun, thinking that brother's just going to stand up. They don't understand the concept of death. The gaming is much worse because they're actually doing the killing. But the Disney was already the beginning of a big, well, not just Disney, but these
I know what you're saying,
comics were already the beginning of a big problem. And then if you combine that with a couple of the latest things that are happening, this instant gratification that kids need, and impulse control and all of these types of things, it's escalating. And it used to be, I always used to think about parents, and you have everyday crime, and that's bad, but it's actually much less dangerous than online.
Yeah, shocking.
Because
you're
online,
right.
you don't even know who you're dealing with. Everyone is
Yes.
a potential predator.
Mm.
Whereas online, it's
Yeah.
in real world, it's only people in your area.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, so the online is very big, as you say.
It is, and the problem is also it's 24/7, because when one part of the world sleeps, another part is awake.
Exactly. No, true.
And
You're so right there.
That's what's happening with these kids that are bullied.
It's not just
because
24/7, yeah.
24/7, and that's why I say no, take phone to bed.
Yes. Yeah, good advice.
I'm going to phone the hostel father now. When I'm done here, I'm telling the hostel master, I'm telling him, listen, yeah, even though my child is 17, take his phone and put it in your box, in your room. He can have it tomorrow morning. Anyway.
Yes.